1.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio in high fidelity.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news in the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live for our 100th show. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib. And we have a great show for you today. And as always, you can catch us on the web at www.ringsidereporter.com. If you want to give us a call or ask any questions, just give your 2 cents. You can give us a call at 323-870-3857. Hit option 1 if you want to talk to us. We'll be here till about 9:30 tonight. Just a disclaimer on here. I know there's NFL games going on. We have our very own correspondent, Ringside Robert, on the case. The Dallas and the Green Bay game, from what I understand, is tied up at 28 in the fourth quarter, maybe 3 minutes remaining. Robert is going to give us direct updates on that. So don't be worried. You're not going to miss anything. But today we're going to talk about.
And you also have updates on the Kansas City Pittsburgh game when that comes on. Go ahead, Eric. Sorry.
There you go. Look at you, man. You're on it. You're on the case, baby. Canelo Alvarez versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is set. We'll give you the details. Dana White, Uncle Dana, makes a serious offer to Floyd Mayweather Jr. to fight Conor McGregor. Shane Mosley blocks me on Twitter and becomes the train wreck of the week. But first, we get started with Badou Jack and James DeGale. Over 10,000 people showed up to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn and witnessed a great fight. Badou Jack and James DeGale went back and forth all night long, and it may have been one of the few times that fans are happy with a draw. Neither fighter deserved to lose this one. DeGale had the momentum early on. He dropped Badou Jack with a clean, looked like a left hand got him. And, Jack squared himself up, and it looked like it just, caught him off balance. It looked like an off-balance shot, honestly. But it was a good shot. They showed the replay. That was a solid shot. Jack didn't look hurt at all when he got up. He recovered very well. The thing that separated DeGale early was his speed. He was very fast and given a lot of different angles to Jack early on. However, Badou Jack started very early with a body attack, and toward the middle of the fight, you could see DeGale slow down. DeGale looked very clearly out of the gas at the end of each round. After the 6th round, he looked completely spent. Jack was definitely the fresher of the two down the stretch. In the 12th round, Badou Jack clipped James DeGale, put him down for the first time in his career, nearly had him out. It was a complete one-sided round for Badou Jack until the last 5 seconds when DeGale hit him with a big right hand. It looked like he had Jack in trouble. So who knows if the round was maybe 10 more minutes or something like that, or 10 more minutes, 10, 20 more seconds, how that would have went down. But nevertheless, the bell rang, and the final scores of the fight, 114-112 for DeGale, 113-113 twice for a majority draw. Ringside Reporter, I had it 114-112 for Badou Jack. I got to tell you, man, I was never impressed with James DeGale, and there was nothing that he did during his career that really impressed me. Everybody, to me, he just came with a lot of hype around him, and I was never, ever impressed by him until last night. He really used angles. He really worked well. Showed a lot of different shot selection, a lot of head movement, a lot of speed. Just almost bewildering Jack in the early rounds, but Jack, to his credit, put the pressure on him, kept the pressure on him, went to the body, which is what he needed to do. It's what he had to do, and he did it, man. And so there you go. Beeb, what did you think of the fight?
The fight was very interesting, and the biggest interesting thing about the fight was the way it was perceived by a lot of people watching it. This was a fight that, again, could have been 114, 112. Either way, could have been 113, 113 very easily. But, perception showed you that it looked like Jack won the fight because of, how he finished strongly, how DeGale looked beat up, how he looked more hurt in a lot of moments in this fight where Jack did not ever really look seriously hurt. DeGale looked hurt on a numerous amount of occasions, about 3 or 4 times in this fight, I have to be honest. But this is the thing, not to beat a dead horse, going back to the 10-point must system, same situation or similar situation, I should say, when you look at that Andre Ward-Sergey Kovalev fight. DeGale was winning rounds, but just winning them narrowly or not really dominating the round. He was doing enough just to get by in some of these rounds and nicking a lot of these rounds, in my opinion. But he was still winning the rounds. The rounds that Jack won, he was winning soundly and very clearly. And as I mentioned earlier, he was hurting DeGale in the rounds that he hurt him. DeGale's knockdown of Jack was just a quick flash knockdown. Whereas, as you can see, and everyone else could see, that when DeGale was knocked down, he was hurt. And I didn't even think he was going to finish the fight. I didn't think he was going to get out of that 12th round. It looked really shaky for him in spots. But this is the thing, a lot of the things that DeGale does, we talk about how flashy he is as a fighter. A lot of those punches he throws, a lot of the movement that he uses and does, it seems to be very over-accentuated. So he'll, instead of just throwing an uppercut, like short uppercut, he'll be like winding it up like this. So a lot of times it actually looks like he's doing more than maybe he really is. And I think that catches the judge's eyes. And in some instances, even catches my eyes, because he can make something look big that's really not that big. He can make something look, really serious when it's really not that serious. And if a judge is looking at the fight, depending upon where he's sitting from his respective angle, it's going to be hard to really distinguish upon if DeGale is really doing as much as his body language suggests, or those long, whirling, unorthodox type, kind of circus type punches. When he throws them, it's going to be hard for a judge to distinguish if that's, really doing damage or not, as I said, depending upon the angle. So as you mentioned earlier, I thought DeGale did very well. He came out strong in the first 3 rounds. I gave him the first 3 rounds, and he's in and out, moving very well. But the thing about what Jack was doing, it was subtle and it was deliberate, and it didn't look like much early on. But what he was doing, he was basically chipping away at the rock, and then eventually, when you chip away at the rock, what happens? The more you chip away, bigger pieces start to fall off it, and that was the case in this fight. He was just being methodical, not really using a lot of excessive movement. He was doing a lot of subtle things, whereas James DeGale was moving a lot. He was covering a lot of ground, and he was making some long strides in the ring when he was moving. And eventually, when you do that, you're going to have to tire out a little bit, or you're going to have to stop, reset, catch your breath, and just basically recalibrate your whole offense. And that's what he had to do. But the thing was, when he was resetting, that's when, Jack really pounced on him. So in those moments when he was trying to catch his breath because he was moving so much, that's when Jack capitalized on that. So when he wanted to take a break, Jack was on the attack. And when Jack was on the attack, he made every punch count. And as you can see, his shots seemed to be hotter and seemed to be doing more damage. Whereas, DeGale was just basically scoring points. So you could say, in my opinion, because I did score this fight 114-112 for DeGale, in my opinion, DeGale won the boxing match, but Jack won the fight. Just look at it at both fighters at the end of this fight, and DeGale was pretty much, he was worn, and he did come back in that 12th round, and he was pulling it on, but for about 90% of that round, he looked like he was out. He looked like he was a man hanging on for dear life, and we got to give Jack credit. But the thing about Jack, though, is, too, a lot of times he's a slow starter. So in a lot of fights, he may give away the first 3 or 4 rounds, but he always comes on strong in the mid to late rounds, and he usually finishes strong. But the thing is you got to be careful, if you're Jack, not to give too many of those early rounds away, because then you have to dig yourself out of a hole. And the question remains here was, did he come out a little bit too slow, or do we have to give James DeGale credit for moving very well early on and not being able to sustain that pace and not being able to, be able to continuously carry the momentum because his legs were being taken away from him because of the chipping away with those body shots. Those body shots may not have had a significant effect early on, but the cumulative effect of those body shots surely paid dividends for Jack later in this fight. And as you can see, he was a different fighter in the later rounds, and DeGale was definitely a different fighter in the later rounds because once Jack smelled blood, he poured it on, and DeGale had to go in survival mode in some of these rounds. So great fight, and can't really argue either way. But again, this fight was so great, but then you have all the people complaining when there's a close decision. You hear the robbery word go out there again, and that just basically tarnishes how good this fight really was. Instead of just appreciating how good this fight was, you had back and forth action for both fighters. You had ebb and flow. You had one guy, taking around here, another guy taking it right back for him. So it's this constant back and forth. There was a lot of drama in this fight. You had knockdowns in this fight. You had a guy hanging off his day of life, and he ended up finishing the fight on his feet. So instead of looking at this and saying this was a fight of the year candidate, you have to hear people whine and cry about robbery. And that, I think that is totally misguided to look at it that way. It's a totally misguided approach and opinion of how this fight really was. So I'm just going to sit there and say, I'm just happy, that this fight was a very enjoyable fight. It was a draw. They may not do it again because Jack's moving up the light heavyweight, but with that being said, it was a great fight, and that's all I'm going to walk away from this fight thinking this was a great fight. I'm not going to whine, cry, or complain. I'm just going to enjoy that we got a great start to the year of 2017 in boxing. And there's much more to come on this Showtime network. So I'm really excited, and I'm pleased, and I'm happy.
Let me ask you a question, Beeb. Should DeGale have gotten a point deducted for spitting out that mouthpiece 3 times? And especially in that last round.
Oh,
because here's my deal. Here's my thing. It didn't happen. So you can't score it that way. And I had it for Jack either way. And I don't think it was a robbery, but was it a miss by the referee to not take that point away after warning him twice?
He quite very possibly could have taken a point away. A lot of referees would have. But keep in mind, there was one instance when he did spit the mouthpiece out, and I believe someone he spit it out close to his corner. I think his cornerman grabbed it up and snatched it up.
Right.
So I think Mercanti actually missed one of the times that he spit it out. And if he did probably see it on the ground at that particular time, maybe he would have taken a point away. But I think it happened again in the last round. And at that point, Mercanti was saying to himself, this is such a great fight, I don't want to ruin it by taking a point away.
Yeah.
But you are 100% correct. He was well within his rights to take a point away from DeGale without question. I was
okay with him not taking the point away. I really was. Because like you said, you don't want to lose the fight like that. And for Badou Jack to come back, and he had to earn that draw. I mean, he really did. He doesn't knock him down, he loses that fight. So he had to earn that draw. And it was such a close fight. I mean, it really was. What surprised me is everybody kind of wrote off Jack before the fight. Everybody kind of wrote him off, and I don't think they really ever saw Badou Jack being competitive with James DeGale in this kind of, maybe they thought he was competitive for a couple of rounds, but it's, DeGale's going to wipe him, and certainly wasn't the case. I mean, I sure didn't see it like that. That's for sure. Robert.
Yes, sir. This was a wonderful fight, and number one, I'm going to tell everybody right now, this was not a robbery. Me and Beeb picked James DeGale last week. Eric picked Badou Jack, and none of us are unhappy with the way that this fight turned out. I'm honestly glad that both guys came into the ring with their belts, and I'm glad that they left with their belts. This is already candidate for fight of the year. They put on a hell of a show. They said that James DeGale worked with his strength and conditioning coach. I think he needs to continue to do that. He showed that he does have some stamina issues because, now that you're at the stage of your career that you don't take time off. You have to fight the full 12 rounds. And I know everybody's calling for a rematch. I don't think we're going to see one. I hate to say what I'm about to say, but I absolutely believe both Floyd Mayweather, which I can't believe I'm going to say that, and Badou Jack when they say that they're going to move up to light heavyweight. Because I don't. The only way I think what we'll see a rematch is if DeGale decides to move up at a later date. But this was a hell of a fight, and nobody should be disappointed. Nobody. And Arthur McCanty is one of the classiest referees. I think he did what he thought was best for the fight, and I don't think he wanted to take a point away. Go ahead, Beeb.
I just wanted to ask you one question, Robbie, because you mentioned something, and it is a fair point that you just mentioned. I don't think you questioned DeGale's stamina, but you saw, or you said, or at least you implied, and correct me if I'm wrong, that he needs to continue to improve upon it. But let me ask you this.
Okay.
Because he had that strength and strength and conditioning coach to work on his stamina, do you attribute some of that work with his coach, that you attribute that to him being able to survive in that 12th round? Because he hung on after being really hurt. And I think that was a testament not only to his heart, but to his conditioning to be able to withstand that beating in the last round. And not only that, obviously, without question, he slowed down. But was that because of his conditioning, or do we credit that because of Jack's body work, taking his legs away?
Beeb, I think we have to. I hate to play 50-50 here, but I think we have to credit that to both his strength and conditioning coach, and we also have to credit that to Badou Jack. Number one, I never knew that James DeGale never had I thought most fighters these days use somebody to work on their conditioning and stuff like that. So I was shocked to find out that this was the first time he actually went out and hired somebody to do that. So he must have saw something in his last fight when he looked at the tape and said, you know what, I need to hire somebody to work on this. And I think we have to give both sides credit here. We have to give Jack credit for the work that he did, and we have to give his coach credit for actually getting him in the condition to survive that, because not knowing that this was a weakness of his beforehand, maybe it would have shown up as a major weakness had he not done that. So I think we give both sides credit here.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if I can jump in here, I think that, like, as far as I listen, man, I don't care what kind of stamina, strength, and conditioning training that James DeGale did. Nothing that he did would have stood up that night. You know what I mean? Nothing. That body attack that he got pounded on was just vicious. That body attack that Badou Jack put on him, I don't care what he did. I don't care what he did or how he worked out. It was going to be the same result. He was going to be dead at the end of that fight. I mean, that was just that was like a Chavez workman-like, the Chavez of old, man. That was like that kind of body work, and that's what he did, and that's what he wore him down. So it didn't matter who he brought in, what he did, what kind of exercises he did, it wouldn't have mattered, man. The end result was the end result. So, but a very good fight, man. Very good fight. Robert, what's the score on the game?
It's 28-28 with about a minute left. Dallas is driving.
Well, wait a minute.
Green Bay drove, but they
got the field goal.
Ball, and now Dallas is driving.
No, I've got it 31-28.
Oh, well, I was commenting on the fight, and they must have kicked the field goal, but Dallas is now driving to either tie it back up or win it. So, sorry.
It's 31, Green Bay 31, Green Bay 31, Dallas 28 with about a minute left. Dallas is driving. So there you go. All right. So Gervonta Davis versus Jose Pedraza was next up. The first thing, I tell you what, I knew this was going to be a pretty good fight. At least I thought it was going to be a pretty good fight. The first thing that struck me about this fight was a size difference, and it struck me even at the weigh-ins. Pedraza looks so much bigger than Davis. I was wondering how in the world Davis is going to deal with him with the size and the range that Pedraza was going to put on him, Turns out he didn't have to worry too much about it. Pedraza decided to fight his fight and decided to fight this fight in a phone booth, man. Pedraza, for reasons unknown to anyone, decided to fight on the inside with Davis. Gervonta Davis controlled this fight from the opening round and made Pedraza look like a rookie at times. Pedraza was taking Davis's shots early on, but he still was taking way too many. And Davis would come out with these big shots, man, and just, Pedraza took him well. I mean, he was taking him. He could see him coming. He was taking him well, but just taking a little bit too many. You don't want to see your fighter take that many. This was definitely not the Pedraza that we've seen in the past. That's very good defensively, picks his shots, and then, the end came about 2:36 of the seventh round with a big right hook from Davis. Pedraza beat the count, but the fight was stopped by the referee. And honestly, the fight could have been stopped earlier. Pedraza looked like he had, no chance in this fight. Robert, what was your take on this fight?
Before I get to that, they've tied it up. It's 31-31. So,
All right.
But first of all, Jose Pedraza and his team have some serious explaining to do here. Jose Pedraza had a height advantage and a reach advantage, and he chose, for whatever reason, not to use it. Now, you never hear Al Bernstein be critical of anybody, but he literally tore apart both Pedraza and his corner last night for the strategy that was used. I mean, I don't know what they were thinking. If you're going to beat Gervonta Davis and you have a height and reach advantage, you want to take advantage of that, and he chose not to. He basically walked in there and basically said to Davis, you know what? You can have my title because I don't care whether I get to keep it or not. And Davis did. Look, Gervonta Davis, his strength is his power and his punching power, and he basically took Jose Pedraza apart for 7 rounds. And I knew that Pedraza was a weak champion, but last night he basically handed the title to Davis. But if you're going to beat Gervonta Davis in the future, if you've got the size advantage, is height and reach, you need to use it, because the one thing you have to do is stay out of his punching range and make him work for whatever he gets. I don't know what the heck Pedraza was thinking, but hey, Davis is a new champion, and we'll see what he does with it. Beeb, what do you think?
This is the thing. I was hearing a lot of people say exactly what you were saying, Robert, and I just disagree. This is the thing. Gervonta Davis, I thought, had a significant speed advantage over Pedraza last night. And, he was using a lot of old school tricks, a lot of, rolling back, rolling to the shoulders, shifting to the hips, a lot of subtle movements, a little sidestep here, a little pivot here. And he was just doing those little nuances to offset everything Pedraza was doing. Constantly had his head off center. He was not being a stationary target for Pedraza, number one. And number two, I don't think Pedraza could gauge that foot speed of Davis. I think Davis is very explosive, as I said, very quick, a lot of fast twitch muscle fibers in that man's body, I would suspect. And I think because of that explosiveness, that foot speed, those little, short, straight punches, those little shortening up those body shots to the inside, really getting a lot of torque on those shots, and not really having to open up those punches. He could just keep everything elbows in tight and just dig in those short shots. Those are the shots that are really hard to gauge and really hard to see and really hard to evade. And couple that up with, as I said, constantly moving his head. So his head was not right there for that jab, for Pedraza to get that long jab on track. He couldn't get that long jab on track. So he had to make an adjustment. And, whenever you can't pin a guy down, you got to try to smother him a little bit and try to overwhelm him a little bit and not give him space to move. So I think he was just trying to pin Davis down because he took the lesser of two evils. He figured, if I stand on the outside, this guy's just going to beat me to the punch, and he's gonna get inside on me anyways. So why don't I kind of try to get in there and smother him and tie him up a little bit and try to beat him to the punch and shorten up the distance. That way my punches can get there quicker than as opposed to if I had to fight him from the outside. Because when you're an outside fighter and you're dealing with a fast guy, like Mike Tyson, for instance, he fought a lot of tall guys. And obviously the game plan was, well, I'm going to keep this guy on the outside. But it's easier said than done when you're dealing with a guy who's constantly moving his head, a guy who can just really cover a lot of ground because of his foot speed, and he can cover a lot of ground in a short amount of time. It's really hard to time those guys and pin those guys down and keep them on the outside. So I think that because of, just Davis being that good and that athletically gifted and that genetically gifted, I think no matter what Pedraza did, he was going to come up short in this fight no matter what. I just think he was outdone. I think he was outgunned and he was basically outskilled, and he's just out physically gifted. I mean, this guy was just better. He's just better genetically gifted than Pedraza. I don't think Pedraza had any physical advantage or technical advantage or skill advantage over Davis. I really didn't see it. The only thing he had over Davis was experience. And Davis looked cool, calm as a cucumber in there, and he looked like he's been there several times, even though he hasn't, whereas Pedraza's been there several times. So, I credit Pedraza for fighting a tough fight, for hanging in there, for not giving up, for continuing to move forward, for taking those hellacious shots early on. But again, going back to that analogy, that comparison that I made earlier, you keep chipping away at the rock, little pieces will start to come off, and eventually those little pieces will start turning into big pieces, and that's what you saw last night with Gervonta Davis and Jose Pedraza. So, yeah, I just think that there was nothing he could have done to be able to win that fight.
So, Beeb, let me ask you, even if he fought at range and used his jab and moved away, you still see Gervonta winning that fight? Well,
yeah, because this is the thing. I mean, I don't think that he could have. I think that he wanted to fight at range, but I just felt as though the things that Gervonta Davis was doing was not enabling him to fight at range. So that's why. And then it was almost like he was saying to himself, I'm trying to fight this guy on the outside, but this doesn't matter because this fight is being dictated to me that this fight is going to be fought on the inside no matter what I do. So in other words, he said to himself, I can't fight my fight, so I'm going to have to try to beat him at his fight. Sounds kind of stupid, but the thing is this, you can't bring a knife to a gunfight. So by him staying on the outside, that's like bringing a knife to a gunfight. So in other words, you damned if you do, damned if you don't. So you might as well go out swinging. You might as well go in and get in the trenches and try to fight the guy because you're not going to outbox the guy. So if you can't outbox the guy, you're better off trying to outfight the guy. Hopefully you can land something big. Hopefully you can overwhelm the guy, catch him a little bit off guard because, again, he didn't have a ton of experience. So maybe you can catch the kid cold a little bit, catch the kid a little bit timid, catch the kid just being a little bit caught up in the moment. And I think that, he gambled a little bit. And in my opinion, he took the lesser of two evils, took the path that could have probably given him the best path to victory. Because, again, he wasn't going to be able to keep this fight on the outside. He wasn't going to be able to land anything significant on the outside. And there was nothing he could have done, in my opinion, to keep Davis on the inside. So get up close, try to land something big, maybe hurt the kid, and then try to turn the fight around that way. That's just my opinion. That's just how I saw it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Davis looked good last night. He was working that Philly shell defense. He looked a lot like a young Mayweather back there. Not as much foot movement, kind of stood in front of him and made him miss and kind of made him pay. So he looked good, man, and congratulations to him. It was funny. I was on Facebook last night, and I saw a meme. It said, who wins this fight? And it's Robert Easter and Gervonta Davis. And I just kind of chuckled. I said, wait, maybe he should crawl before he walks, I mean, he's not ready for Robert Easter just yet. But in time, that does sound like a pretty good fight. So that being said, let's go to the phone lines.
Yeah.
812, you are live.
Oh, hey, what's up, Eric? This is Joey.
Hey, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, Joe, what's up?
Oh, I'm bad. I didn't even know I pressed one. I was over here got back getting some groceries, but I'll go ahead and talk real quick. I just want to say, I really enjoyed the fight last night. I really think that the Barclays Center is a real nice spot, the whole fight. I mean, see Eddie Hearn there and Floyd there. And it had that, to me, it had that pay-per-view feel to it, even though it wasn't a pay-per-view. So I kind of was excited. Like, and I didn't really, the fights were so good, I didn't really even care about, like, who won. Like, I'm not, like you guys said, I'm not upset with the decision.
Right.
I mean, I think Jack and DeGale went at it real good. Another thing that I'm really excited about is we got a new star in boxing. I mean, that's what we're always looking for. Who's the next guy that's the next rising star? And we saw that in Gervonta Davis. And he's got the character, he's got the personality, and most importantly, he's got the skills. So I'm really intrigued about him. Other takeaways from that fight. I mean, I don't know if you guys got to see the post conference. I like Mayweather and all, but man, I just felt like every time somebody asked him a question, he'd always make it about him. He'd always compare his career and his stuff over the fighters. I'm like, dude, just talk about your fighters, talk about the fight, but stop saying he's bringing up examples of what happened in his career and the ways he's done things. And it's like, come on, man. You could just tell that he's real, how should I say, his ego, the ego's there, man. Because every time he got asked a question, he always would, talk about himself first. So, but like I said, I don't know, man. Something about Brooklyn, New York, I loved it. I mean, and kudos to all them guys that put the event together. I saw that picture of DeGale, man. He lost his teeth, his eardrums all messed up. So them guys went at it, man. So it was just a good card, and I got to see my boy Broner there. Broner looks good. He looks healthy, and he's ready to rock next month. So, it's, like I said, it was a good way to start off 2017. It raced Friday. Friday to me was just they could have left that for 2016. That Laura fight. I don't know if you guys will touch on that later, but
we will. Yeah.
Like I said yesterday, even going to the undercard, man, Delorme looked good. I don't know if you guys got to see the fights on Showtime Extreme, but Delorme looked real solid, and the females fights was interesting too. So just overall, guys, it was a good card. I am concerned though, Eric, even Robbie, about my Puerto Rican fighters because there's none left really except for Felix Verdejo. I mean, Cotto's he's on his way out, so I'm hoping we get a next future star in Verdejo. But I'm concerned about the PR fighters because I don't really see anybody that's even close to being like a top 10 guy in any division right now. Besides, Felix, but he's up and coming.
Yes.
So what's up, Robbie?
Well, to update everybody, Green Bay wins the game 34-31. They kicked the field goal with about 2 seconds left. So Green Bay moves on to play Atlanta next week.
Going to be tough to beat.
Wow.
Going to be tough to beat.
Yeah. Anyway, on to what you said, Joe. Last night's card was real good. Pedraza, I stick by my opinion. I respect your opinion, Beeb, and you make a lot of good points, but I think he made a technical mistake trying to fight Davis's fight. He made it easy for Davis to win. The Jack DeGale fight is already candidate for Fight of the Year, and the Showtime Extreme fights, they were real good. Each one of them was decent, so you can't complain. Laura, I could do without. Not that he's a bad fighter, but he's just not entertaining enough for people to see anymore because nobody real wants to fight him anymore. He's going to beat people like he beat on Friday all day long, but can he get somebody significant in the ring with him anymore? It doesn't look like it because people want to avoid him. So, what can you do?
Hey, Eric, let me say something going back real quick to Friday's fight. I'm losing respect to a lot of guys like Anthony Durrell. When you know you're going to beat the guy, then you start showboating, putting your hands behind your back, then you can't even finish the guy. Like I think Tarver was saying, just get in there, do your job, but don't get in there and showboating like you've been knocking guys out every time. It's just guys like that. I mean, I can't stand that anymore, man. Like
what was
guys
the point?
They're already outmatched anyway. They've been feeding them.
He was put there for a payday. He was put there to make you look good.
Yeah.
That's the point. I mean, he was put there to make you look good. So look good. We don't need you showboating. It was a squash card. It really was. It was like a bunch of jobbers on that card, You knew who was going to win before that fight took place.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was, and that's why they were there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you're right. And I just have no interest in them. And real quick before I get out of here, Eric, I want to thank you on Tuesday for informing me about the tickets, man. I scored some great tickets for Cincinnati next month. So I'm real excited about it. Yeah, I got great view. I'm seat 1 and 2, so I'm right by the aisle if I need to, go get a drink or something. And I just got talked to. There's a guy I met in Brooklyn by the name of Michael Marley. I don't know if you heard of him, man. He's an old time guy. He's like, he wrote stories on Ali, and he's famous out there in Brooklyn for a boxing writer. But he told me some cool Ali stories when I went to the Thurman fight. And he told me that he possibly may be attending that donor fight. So if I see you out there, Eric, I'm definitely going to introduce you to Michael Marley, man. He's a real good guy.
Of course.
He's just one of them old school boxing guys, man. He's one of them guys you sit down with him and he's going to tell you stories for hours, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I'm just, like I said, I'm excited about the card. I don't know if Russell's still on it or Charlo's off of it, but
no, I'm going to update you in a minute. Yeah, Russell is off of the card.
It's going to be fireworks.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's a good card.
Okay.
I think it's really
Charlo?
Charlo should still be on it. Yeah, as far as I know.
Okay. Yeah, so and then I'm excited. But hey, Beeb, man, real quick, I'll tell you one guy I would love to meet. Eddie Hearn seems like a cool dude, man. I mean, that guy, I don't know, he just brought a vibe to him yesterday at that fight. Now, did he end up saying, guys, in the presser that DeGale is a free agent now?
I thought DeGale was under contract to him. I have to double check. I'll have to ask Davey Boy Essex the contract situation with him. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, I mean, Eddie Hearn is awesome. He's the best motor boxer right now.
He's willing to, man.
From what they said last night on TV, guys, James said, Eddie, you need to work on this rematch. So I think James is still with Eddie.
Yeah. And, Eddie's willing to work with anybody. He comes over here time and time again, works with any promoter that we have here. And that's what it's all about. Eddie doesn't have an ego. He just wants to put on the greatest fights ever. And if you ever run into Eddie, he's the type of guy, you can sit down and have a drink with him. You know what I'm saying? He's a great guy, man. He's an awesome guy.
Seems like he's the life of the party, man. When
life of the party.
Seems very down to earth.
Dude.
Yeah.
Eric and Robbie B, before I get out of here, I know this is boxing, but real quick, RIP to Superfly Jimmy Snuka, man. I used to love his moves as a kid, but he passed away today.
Jimmy Snuka died?
Wow. Yeah, just RIP to Superfly Jimmy Snuka.
Did he really?
Yeah, Superfly, he died today, yep.
Wow.
Jimmy Snuka. May he rest in peace.
Yeah, no
doubt.
doubt.
It's sad because he just beat, he got cleared of his murder. He was charged for homicide for a while, but he just got cleared from that. So, stuff that when you get older like that and that damn cancer comes, man. But anyways, guys, good show. I don't want to take up, the callers. I forgot to touch on it. A lot of people don't like Chavez and Canelo. I called Robbie Friday and told him, man, this fight, I love it.
I love that fight.
And all the Mexican Americans for the
Viva Mexico.
Yeah, May 6th, we get a real slugfest. So we're going to say in KO, and I'm just excited, guys. So you guys take care, and Eric, man, February 18th is going to be a good night.
Absolutely,
Joe,
man.
Before I let you go, Joe, I just got a message from Davey Boy Essex. That was DeGale's last fight with Eddie Hearn last night. He's a free agent as of last night. So
well, I bet you he resigns.
Yeah.
Hey,
well, he should. He should. He's got the best motor in boxing. Why wouldn't you want to re-sign with him?
That's right.
If Floyd really gets him and he showcase him more in the United States, you never know, But you guys take care, and good talking with you, man. I'll talk to you next week.
All right, man.
Joe.
We'll talk to you then. Thank you, sir.
Great hearing from you. Great hearing from you, Joe. Love to hear from you all the time. Great guy.
Wow. Yeah. I can't believe that about Jimmy Snuka, right? What happened with that, man? That's
Jimmy
crazy.
Snuka.
Yeah, he was 73.
Wow. That blows me away, man.
Wow.
Crazy. I watched him growing up. I watched that guy growing up, man. That's the crazy part.
So did I.
Man. Used to watch him coming off the top rope and everything, man. Craziness.
I used to when I was a kid, you know what I used to do after watching Jimmy Snuka? I used to stand on the top of my couch. I used to do Superfly Snookers on my brother.
Yeah.
Superfly Superfly circus splashes from the top of my couch onto my brother's stomach.
Nice.
There you go. There you
Let
go.
me tell you something, brother. Jimmy Snooker, baby. May he rest in peace.
He was awesome, man. He was awesome. Remember I remember when he was with Andre the Giant, they were tag team, and he got on top of the Giant's shoulders and then did the splash on one of the Samoans. Man, it was awesome. The guy was awesome.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, let's go to the phones. We're going to go back to the phones. 347, you are live. Or not? 347. Going once. Twice. All right, we'll put you back on hold here. All right. So let's talk about let's go before we go back to the lines. We're gonna talk for a few more minutes to talk about the undercards and everything. The upset of the night came as Emmanuel Alim KO's highly touted prospect Ivigan Kryatov. Alim had Kryatov down in the third round and took him out in the sixth. He looked like he had him in trouble in the first round too. Both fighters were unbeaten, but Kryatov was very highly touted coming in, and he was like the guy coming in. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. That was a pretty big upset. And then also on that undercard, we had Amanda Serrano versus Yasmin Rivas. Robert, did you happen to watch this one?
Yeah, I watched all three of those fights on Showtime Extreme, and I've seen the Russian that lost several times on Showbox. I was shocked by that, but good for Emmanuel. And like I said earlier when I was breaking these fights down, even the female fight was entertaining. I mean, Steve Farhood said that a lot of the top female fighters have double digits in losses. So I don't know how we're supposed to get behind this, but at least in Serrano's case, she only has one loss, and she looks like she knows what she's doing in there. So, hey, if this got good ratings, I guess we're going to see more of these.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, she won I guess she won a decision. I was thinking about this though. The reason why boxing doesn't get a larger female base, and is because they have no female stars. In the UFC, you got Chris Cyborg and Amanda Nunes knocking people out in dominant fashion. You got Ronda Rousey submitting people in 30 seconds. You don't have that here. And it's up to the promoters to create that. It's also up to the matchmaker to create that. That's how you get women's boxing on the map. You make stars. I can see good competition in the men's division. What do I need to add another division for? I mean, I could watch two guys go at it. We just saw it with Badou Jack and James.
And Eric, are you okay with the female fights being 2 minutes around, or should they, if they're going to be professional fighters, should they fight 3 minutes like the men do?
They should fight 3 minutes around. Of course they should fight 3 minutes around. There's no reason for that. There's no reason for them to fight 2 minutes around. For what? They're just getting started. The round ends. You need to make a star. And I'll tell you what, if you remember, I mean, everybody knows Layla Ali? Everybody's watched a Layla Ali fight. Everybody's watched a Christy Martin fight.
Right.
Mia St. John, all those, when they were popular, that's when women's boxing was booming. That's when you would watch a fight. That's when you would sit down and watch Christy Martin fight, or you would watch Layla Ali fight, because they made stars, because there was something compelling about watching them. There's nothing compelling about Amanda Serrano, and I hate to say that, but until you show me, and even Claressa Shields, when she won, I think she won via decision. But who's the new girl coming up in England that Eddie Hearn's promoting? Beeb, do you know who I'm talking about?
Oh yeah,
Katie Taylor. She was at the fight last night.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And
she's the new star of this female division. Yeah, Eddie Hearn promotes her.
Well, I don't know about that so much. I mean, she'll probably go. We'll probably never hear from her again. So. But that's what you have to do. I mean, you have to make stars like that. And it's up to, because they put on a good fight last night. Her and Rivas put on a really good fight last night. But again, what do I care if I see her again? I saw a good fight. All right. I'd much rather watch Badou Jack and James DeGale again. I can see a good fight. We see good fights weekly. You need to separate yourself and do something. And you need to get some personality in there. Somebody needs to step up and take those reins. Just my opinion. I'm not trying to be sexist here. I'm just being truthful, man. So,
it's almost unfair that the women have to do that much more to get noticed. But it is what it is. That's just the way it is. I mean, they have to be exceptional. They have to be above and beyond just good. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
whereas men could be solid and doesn't get a little bit of recognition. But that's the thing, though, because there's just so much more men fighters out there. And as you mentioned, the 2-minute rounds in the UFC, females fight the same. The rules are exactly the same as the men. So
that's the way it should be in boxing.
Yeah,
that's the way it should be in boxing.
Yeah, it's just that in itself, making concessions, making the rounds 2 minutes instead of 3, just because they're females. That in itself is kind of taking away from what boxing should be. So yeah, but it is what it is. They have to be exceptional. They have to do that much more. And is it fair? Maybe, maybe not. But it's just that's the way it is.
Yeah, and I don't see any reason to make concessions.
Yeah, no, that's my point, Eric. If you want to create a female star, make her fight under the same rules that the men's do, because look, boxing fans know that when a fight happens, no matter how long it is, each round is 3 minutes. Like you said, Eric, they were just getting started last night, and the round would come to an end. How fair is that? If you're gonna have them fight in professional boxing, you have them fight under the same rules. And I don't think there's a woman out there that supports boxing that would call in and disagree.
And it's the same thing in the UFC. They fight 5-minute rounds. They don't fight
That's
3-minute
right.
rounds. They fight 5-minute rounds. What are you doing? Why are these girls fighting 2-minute rounds? That's silly. That's what amateurs fight. You know?
Makes no sense.
No.
Yes.
Makes no sense at all.
True.
All right, let's talk about the PBC on Spike. Arislandi Lara versus Yuri Foreman. Lara scored a 4th-round KO over a Yuri Foreman. Lara looked okay. He looked his normal self. It wasn't, Foreman came in there and to do the job just like he did. He looked like the Brooklyn Brawler in there, laid down. And, but I got to be honest, man, if he's not clipped with that uppercut, I don't know that this fight doesn't go the distance. It was just that kind of fight. I mean, it was a typical Lara fight, So, he won. Yay, To me, though, man, and Lara's a good fighter. Don't get me wrong. I don't feel a need to watch him. I mean, he just don't. In order to get the big fights, man, Lara clearly has a skill. You can't say he's not skillful. He's a very skillful fighter, but he needs a personality transplant. I don't know, because I'd rather watch him watch a fight than to watch him fight. I mean, he's just not. There's nothing compelling about him. There's nothing that makes me say, Arislandi Lara's fighting, I'm canceling everything. I'm staying home and I got to watch him. Nothing. I don't want to watch him fight. I don't know. How do you guys feel? Robert, what do you feel about this?
Look, I think he's an outstanding fighter, and by all rights, he should be undefeated. That fight against Paul Williams, those judges got banned from boxing for judging it the way they did. That should be a Lara win or a no contest. With Canelo, I scored it with Lara winning. By all rights, he should be undefeated. I mean, that's the kind of fighter he is. But because of his fighting style and him bringing nothing to the table, there's no legitimate fighters in his division or in middleweight that actually want to fight him, because there is no you can't make any money off of him. And I don't know what he does. He's got to do something, because otherwise we're going to continue to see him fighting one stiff after another, and he's going to build his record on that because there's no legitimate fighters. They're going to step up to the plate and fight him because he brings nothing to the promotion table.
Nobody cares.
I mean, let's face it. You have to bring something to the table in order to get somebody big interested in you. Look at the trouble that Triple G has, and yet he's an exciting fighter, but yet he can't get anybody to step in the ring with him, up until now, because they're going to do everything they can to avoid him. Well, Lara is in the same circumstance, but his style indicates that he's going to put people to sleep.
All right, I'm in. Can you hear us now?
Should be able to hear you now because of the way it's set up.
All right. Can you guys hear me in the chat? Anybody?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Awesome.
Perfect. All right. Now we can resume. All right. So we were on the Darrell fight. Darrell looked sharp. He looked sharp in this fight. He was it was a complete mismatch. It went out there went 6 rounds. It was a complete mismatch. That's all I really got to say about it, honestly. Darrell, again, he's clowning out there against a guy
my question is, guys, what the hell does this fight prove for Anthony Darrell? I mean, what was the purpose of this? Just to get rounds? You can get rounds fighting off of TV, not on TV.
Right. Yeah, it was silly. It was a silly fight. Again, it was just a jobber out there. I mean, and to sit there and, dance around, and clown and stuff like that was ridiculous. Get him out of there, just ridiculous. So it was funny that Joey had mentioned Floyd Mayweather and about how, in the press conference, everything always revolves around him. I have firsthand experience with that. We interviewed Floyd Mayweather this week, and we asked him about Gervonta Davis. And again, it rolled back around to him. We can play it here.
What do you think of Gervonta Davis' chances next week?
Sport of boxing, anything can happen. Anything can happen. Just want everybody to come out here and fight. The guy, Gervonta's fighting, he's no pusher. And we understand that. He didn't become world champion, by not working hard. He got to where he got to by working hard, staying focused, and doing what he had to do.
How was your relationship with him?
My relationship, I'm very, very busy. I'm very busy traveling the world. I don't just have fighters just in the U.S. I have fighters all around the world. I'm on my way to Moscow, Russia. We just opened up a Mayweather. I got a boxing gym in Moscow, Russia. So I'm on my way over to Moscow. One of my best friends lives in Moscow. He's my best friend Tim over in Moscow, Russia. So, I have relationships with people all around the world, and I have fighters from all around the world, and we want to continue to grow and help young fighters.
Yeah. So again, we asked him about Gervonta Davis, and he cycles around back to himself. What I thought was interesting is when I asked him about Gervonta, is what he didn't say. And he didn't say he was gonna, Gervonta is gonna go out there and take the title with no issue. He's gonna wipe the floor with this guy, which he should have done, because it's his guy. This is who Floyd is promoting. Floyd is promoting Davis, and everybody clearly knows about this rift going on. Luckily, it looks like after the fight, everything was good. I guess if he, I would have been real curious to see if he lost, how things would have been, but you don't know, So very interesting. If you want to hear the interview in its entirety, you can download it on Beating the Odds with Beeb, or subscribe to our channel, and you can download it that way also. It's very good. So good stuff. Let's go to the line. Let's try 347 again. 347, you are live. Yeah, it could be 347 is just listening.
347, you're on the air.
All right, could be just
They must
listening.
be just listening.
Yeah, that's all right. All right. Let's go to the one everybody's waiting for. What would the show be without this one? 804.
Hey, buddy, how y'all doing today?
What's going on, man?
We're doing good, Corey.
Yeah, man. I just want to give a shout out to Beeb. He pretty much his pick. I don't know if you picked the Alvin fight, but I'm pretty sure you did, and I'm pretty sure you went against the 804, because that's where he works out at. That's where his gym is. I've been in his boxing gym. I've actually sparred with him. So what it is, he's a good guy. He's a good fighter. And what it is you never go against the 804. You never go against the 804. What the hell are you thinking? That's what you call old-fashioned ass whooping with a Amin did to the what is it, Ukraine? He's from Ukraine?
Yeah, I think so. Krytrov?
Something like that, yeah. He's Eastern European fighter, we know that.
Yeah,
He was a highly touted prospect. And what it is,
He was.
Some guys were even putting him high as, you know what I mean, Lomachenko.
Are you on speaker? Are you on speaker?
No, I'm not on speaker. Can you hear me? Can you hear me better now?
Now I can hear you.
Yeah,
I can hear
you got to get closer to the phone.
Sound like you're in a parking garage.
I got a big house. What can I say?
Okay.
I don't live in a 6x9 studio.
He's in the hallway of his apartment complex.
You know what was amazing about the Heatroff thing is he was rated number 2 by the WBC in the middleweight division. I mean, he only had 14 fights. How can you rate him number 2?
Huge upset, man.
It's called, let me tell you something, Robbie. It's called boxing politics, baby.
Oh, I know that, but you know. I hope Aleem gets rated now after this because he definitely looked better of the two.
He looked very good last night. He looked very good.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I work off of this street called Midlothian in Virginia. It's in Richmond, Virginia. I work off of this street called Midlothian Turnpike, and what it is a mean train off of Midlothian Turnpike. Can you believe that?
Hey, Corey. Hey, Corey. Let me ask you a question real quick. Let me ask you a question real quick. Did you hear our Tony Bellew interview?
What's up?
Did you hear our?
No, I didn't, dude.
You should. You should, because he's going to destroy your boy. He's going to destroy David Hayes, son. It's all done but the crying. Tony Bellew's ready. Go listen to that interview. He's going to kill him.
Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. We need to give random drug tests on the Ringside Reporter because he's smoking crack.
Oh, my.
Yeah, baby. Nah, but I mean, on the real though, I mean, you know what I mean. David Hayes is gonna fucking punish this kid. I wouldn't be, and I don't wish death upon anybody. But if he doesn't kill Bellew, it doesn't count. It doesn't count, baby. But yeah, back to what I was saying, though, y'all. So the mean fight, you know what I mean? I had, options. I had the Richmond guy win, it's from my hometown, from where I live at. And the second fight was Gervonta Davis. I mean, he fucking did it. He did an awesome job, dude. He has charisma, enthusiasm. He has a lot of pizzazz about him. Something Laura lacks in all fields, in all aspects of the area.
Yep.
And that's another thing I want to tell y'all. If all three of y'all reporters on here, or whatever you want to call yourself, boxing, boxing aficionados or whatever, but I'm going to tell you right now, if y'all know boxing as much as I do, you need to fucking pay close attention to that Laura fight. And then here's why. When Laura knocked down Foreman in the fourth round to TKO him, Foreman could have got up. I swear to God on my life, and you know what I mean? Like, everything that I have in my body and my soul, I think that was a dive, dude. I honestly do. I honestly think that was a dive. This shit looked awful. He's hopping around with his knees. If you got enough power to hop off your knees, like he's jumping on his knees. Like, just say you know what I mean? You're on all fours. Just say you're on all fours, right? You got your knees down, you got your hands down. He literally had enough power to hop up off the ground. All fours were off the ground. If you got enough power to do that, you got enough power to get the fuck up. And then when he got up, it was like he was dazed, but it looked choreographed. I honestly think it was a dive. I had nothing against either fighter. You know what I mean? But being in the boxing game and actually studying the science, that was a dive, dude. And if all of y'all are blind to the fact Y'all are in the wrong sport. That was a clear-cut dive, dude. I don't know why. I don't know why he would have had to take a dive. But my only thing is, I don't think Laura would have put him out. I think the fight would have with the distance. That's my personal opinion. And if the fight would have with the distance, I mean, it would have looked horrible on his resume. Because who the fuck is Foreman? Foreman is nobody. You know what I mean? And what it is, I mean, if he wouldn't have got him out there, I mean, he would have just looked, you know what I mean? He pretty much would have looked worse than he already does, you know what I mean? With all the losses he took. And y'all could actually say he didn't lose the fight. He did lose the fight. The Paul Williams fight, I don't think he lost. The fucking Canelo fight could have went either way. But you can't say the Law dominated the Canelo fight by any facets of the game.
No, I had Canelo winning that fight.
You're welcome. Yeah, so back to what I was saying, though. You know what I mean? I'm on my shit, baby. Yeah, but I mean, like I said, I mean, you know what I mean? Beeb had a couple picks, but I mean, who in their right mind would have thought the Badou James DeGale fight would have been a draw? I think Mayweather got so hot because I think he lost a lot of money on that fight. He bets on fucking everything. He'll bet $1 million just for the halftime over under. That's not even the whole game. Just imagine. I know he bets on his fighters. When that fight was over with, Mayweather was fucking ecstatic. He was mad as shit, dude. Did y'all see him in the post-fight interview?
Yeah, he was furious.
Yep. Yep.
Oh yeah.
He was fired up.
I honestly think he lost some money in that fight, dude. And I mean, you know what I mean? I feel like boxing is kind of taking like a. I feel like the sport could go all the way up with the right people, you know, working, you know what I mean, doing the best fights and shit. And I heard, you know, groping, you know what I mean, groping on fucking Eddie Hearns, you know what I mean, you know what, over there, Beeb. But I mean, he's an okay promoter. He's awesome. Promoter, but I mean, he's an okay promoter, you know what I mean? But I mean, you know, to the level that you're putting him on, I mean, I would think you would have God right here, and then you would have Eddie Hearns side by side with God. I mean, that's pretty much what you're saying. I mean, he's just like so awesome to you. I mean, but I mean, like I was saying though, I mean, he's pretty good.
I love Eddie Hearns.
That's an obvious fact. But so I mean, you know, he's putting on good fights. I can't, like I said, some people say that he's throwing his guys to the wolves. But I mean, what the fuck is Al Heyman doing? Al Heyman is fucking putting his fighters tough. Do y'all agree?
Yeah.
Now he is. Now he is. If y'all look at Al Heyman's fight from about 2 years ago to now, they're totally different. He's like, let's think about the Al Heyman fight. Those guys were what, 14, 15-0 max, 16-0 max, both of them. And I mean, you didn't really know which fighter was going to win, to be honest with you, because I've seen some of the what's his name, Korokov? What's his name? The Ukraine guy, y'all. Korokov. Korokov got knocked out by Andy Lee. That's the wrong guy. What's the other guy's name you said?
Oh yeah, you talking about the one that fought yesterday?
Yeah, but I think
his name is Heatroff.
Heatroff, okay. Heatroff. Well, what I gotta say about Heatroff is I've seen some of his earlier fights, and to be honest with you, I'm not being biased because the guy I mean is from Richmond, Virginia. But I'm honestly telling y'all, if y'all look at some of his previous fights, he's actually been hurt before. If you look at some of his previous fights, he's actually been hurt before. And I mean, these are guys that are not that really good. They're not that good. His notable fight before Aleem, can you name it?
No, I didn't even think Aleem was a notable fight for him. I mean, Aleem had really good record.
Before Aleem.
Yeah, no.
I'm talking about before Aleem.
No, he was brought up again as a prospect. So if
you're getting hurt by no name guys, and see, this is another thing.
the amateur ranking and the pro ranking are two totally different, walks of life. You got headgear on, you're fighting with bigger gloves. A lot of these guys are technically sound. Like the guy, what's his name? Whatever his name is, from Ukraine, the guy that fought me. He was technically sound. But you can't pay for a fucking chin, dude. He got wobbled in the first round. A lot of people thought he was done in the first round.
Yep.
I mean, to be honest with you, that didn't look like a fucking amateur stout to me, just from the first round alone. And I mean, I'm not gonna harp on that fight. I mean, we had some pretty good fights this weekend, but what do y'all feel about? I know I'm ready to go off topic a little bit, but it's still boxing related. I seen a Paul Malignaggi interview. I don't know what interview he did, but if y'all look at his interviews for this weekend, he was talking beside Adrian Broner. So I guess they made up, you know what I mean? So what it was is, and mark my words, y'all heard it here first. Y'all heard it here, right here first. I actually decoded what they were talking about. They were trying to mumble this. They were trying to mumble this shit in the interview. But mark my words, y'all. Mark my words. Not this fight coming up, Adrian Broner, but the very next fight after this fight, Adrian Broner will be a 2-time world champion. This is why. Adrian Broner was gonna fight Ricky Burns, but he didn't fight him for a reason. You know what that reason was?
Yeah, Ricky Burns got another fight for the unification.
Because Ricky Burns is ready to fight for another title. And if Ricky Burns, which everybody's expecting him to win, if Ricky Burns wins both of those titles, the purses will be way more. You know what I mean? It'd be more of a watchable fight. You know what I mean? More of a draw. There'll be not only the one, world title, but there'll be 2 world titles on the line. And then you got Ricky Burns, which is pretty good over there. He sells tickets over there where he's from. And what it is you got Adrian Broner. And I decoded that through what they were talking about, because Paulo Malignaggi was like, if you just wait it out, he was like, I guess they were talking because Adrian Broner was saying something about Al Heyman, and he said, Al Heyman's setting you up right. He said, and then Adrian Broner was like, I'm gonna fuck that dude up when I fight him. And then Paulo Malignaggi was just like, yeah. And he said he'll have 2. He said he'll have 2 belts too. So the only guy I can think of at 140, which Adrian fights in there with 2 belts, would be Ricky Burns, or the winner of Ricky Burns and the guy that knocked out the Russian guy. I forgot his name. He's like South African or something.
Julius Ndongo. Julius Ndongo is going to fight Ricky Burns, and that's not a walkover for Burns, man. That is no walkover for sure. That's a solid fight. That's a real solid fight. Yeah, there is no guarantee Burns.
What it is
no guarantee he's getting out of that one.
What it is from the interview that Ricky Burns was doing. I mean, from the interview that Paul Malignaggi was doing about Ricky Burns. I mean, it was pretty much, you could pretty much just see the eagerness that Adrian Broner wants to fight Ricky Burns that fucking bad. I don't know if they had prior beefs or whatever, but I mean, he got really amped up when he said Ricky Burns, like when they were talking about it. And Paulo Malignaggi was like pretty much like, calm down. You'll get the fight. But I mean, they're pretty much banking on that Ricky Burns is gonna win. I don't think he's a clear favorite. I don't think that guy completely watched that Russian
Yeah, he sure did.
Guy, you know what I mean? It was supposed to be the dark. When he was the Russian guy was supposed to be the dark horse of the 140-pound division, if you remember, because a lot of people said Crawford was scared to fight him. If y'all remember that correctly.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I was one of those guys. I said that Troyanovsky was the guy, man. The way he dismantled the former TBE, Cesar Cuenca, and he was just dismantling guys left and right, man. And Dongo just murdered that guy, just murked him in 1 or 2 rounds. And let me tell you this, Paulie was actually going to fight Ricky Burns. He was aiming to fight Ricky Burns, And that may have been the conversation there because that Paulie was actually aiming to fight Ricky Burns. Didn't get that fight. Julie Sandongo gets that fight. And Broader was aiming toward Ricky Burns also prior to that fight.
But that's what I'm trying to tell you, though, because I decoded all that shit. Because, you know, if you look at it, Paulie Malignaggi was muffling his words. Like, I guess he had something under his sleeve, and I guess they were both bidding for the fight, I guess. Because what it is I heard Paulie Malignaggi say in the same sentence. He said, I was going to fight him, but I don't know if I can make the weight. That's what he said out of his mouth. So we got to be talking about Ricky Burns, on.
Yeah, it had to be. It had to be. So, all right, Corey, we're going to go ahead and get running here, man. We got some calls holding, but thank you for calling in, man. It's always a good show when you call.
Y'all have a good show, man. I dropped a hell of a lot of knowledge, and y'all have a great show, man. Catch up.
All right, man.
Thank you for enlightening us, Corey. It's a pleasure.
All right. I have an update before you get into the next topic there, Eric.
Yeah.
Kansas City is ahead of Pittsburgh 7-3.
All right, man. Good deal. Good deal.
Awesome.
We're going to stay on the phones. 508, you are live.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Georgie.
Georgie.
Oh, Georgie, what's up?
You'll be my new fool.
The good thing about this, Georgie, is that as soon as the Tony Bellew David Haye fight goes off, we'll be playing that for Corey. So there you go.
It's like a baton. We got to pass it around.
That's right. We got to pass it off.
If I cut off because my phone is dying, so I'm going to try to make it sweet and short and sweet.
Okay, man.
You guys are 100 show, huh? You guys been here for a little while now. Hopefully you can be around for another 100 more.
Hopefully.
That's great. That's great.
We're not going anywhere.
All right. Love to hear that. But usually I got to go a couple rounds with Beeb. Beeb, you ready, buddy?
Yes, I'm ready, Georgie. Let's go.
You know, I gotta go with you a couple rounds, buddy.
Let's go.
If somebody brings the word robbery into the conversation, we cannot be dismissive. We cannot be like, okay, that's like lunacy or that's crazy or there is no facts behind it.
Okay.
So we're gonna dissect the rounds. And all the rounds, DeGale, Outlander, Jack, only when he put it down. What round he put it down? The second round?
First round.
Jack fell down. He went down in the first round. Yeah.
On the first round. So I think that was maybe the only round or another round there. But that's okay. So he put him round early in the fight.
Yeah.
Then Jack came back late in the fight in the so-called championship rounds and put him down on the 12, right?
Right.
Correct.
That was a competitive fight.
Yeah.
But if you dissect round by round, who landed the hottest shot and who landed the most shots, and the hottest and the most shot, it was Jack.
Yeah.
So if somebody brings the word robbery, we can say that's crazy. How could that be crazy when the round and the number showing you that? But that was a competitive fight. I'm not saying it was not.
Jack threw more,
but
he landed more, higher percentage too.
Jack threw more and landed the hottest shot.
And that's correct. But can I explain something? That's correct. That's 100% correct. But can I explain something to you? This is why this is the misconception of people who don't. I'm not going to say they don't understand the 10-point must system and scoring a fight round by round, but I'm going to explain something to you. I could win a round, and I could land 10 punches. You can land 9, and I could win 7 rounds that way. But then you can win 5 rounds, right? And you can outland me 20-1. Okay?
No, but we're talking about round by round. That's what I said from the go. We're talking about round by round. We go country box numbers.
And that's
nobody landed more than like 15, 20 punches per round. And it was always Jack in the high percentage, like more. So if we go round by round, your logic just fall apart.
No,
That's
it doesn't.
One. number. Yes, he does. So we're going round by round. So you're talking about that somebody landed 20 punches in a certain round and less in another round. No, we're talking about round by round.
Okay.
Jack won round by round. He landed the hardest and most punches. Was the most busy guy with the hardest shot. Round by round, except for one round. Check out
there's a way to settle this, guys. Eric, do you have the punch stats?
Check out the punch stats.
It was 175. It was like DeGale landed 170-some punches.
It was the second round, I think, that he had landed more, DeGale. That was the only round.
Hang on, George. Eric's trying to answer the question.
Jack landed,
Go ahead,
Badou
Eric.
Jack landed about 236 punches to get DeGale's 175. Those were punches landed. Badou Jack landed more punches. He threw more punches. He landed more punches, and he landed at a higher percentage. And if you watch the graphic, if you watch the graphic, the round by round graphic, which they showed on Showtime, you'll see that a majority of the rounds, as far as CompuBox would have went to Jack if they were just based on punching, because he landed more in just about every round.
I remember the statistic. I'm sorry, Harry. I don't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good.
But I remember the statistic was only one round that DeGale outlanded this man.
Right. The problem, though.
We're talking about hottest punches.
The problem, though, is that we can't really score it. We can't score the fight based on punch stat, because a lot of times the punch stat doesn't tell the story. I mean, what if DeGale outlanded him, 20-15? The round doesn't automatically go to DeGale, but you're looking at the harder shots.
But there is a point that human perception and your own bias can determine how you're going to score that round. But if you go by what numbers are, numbers really don't lie. You cannot judge the fight on the CompuBox.
Georgie, listen. First of all, CompuBox is two human beings counting punches. One guy is counting one fighter's punches, another guy is counting another fighter's punches. So you could have 10 different people and put a clicker in each person's hand. The numbers are going to come up differently. So that's number one. Number two, amount of punches doesn't always translate into quality of punches. And number three, the problem also too is what I mentioned earlier in my analysis. When DeGale does things, the way he does things, he's very flashy. He over accentuates his punches and his movements. So a lot of times it looks like he's doing more than what he's really doing, and that can sway judges. So when you're watching this fight, none of us are sitting there counting punches. We're watching other things besides just amounts of punches. We're watching defense, ring generalship.
As a fan, you're getting emotionally involved, baby. You know that. Like we all do. But
you can. You can, but to be perfectly honest, when I'm watching these fights, I'm really putting I have a scoring app, and I pretend that I'm actually hired to score this fight. And I make a concerted effort to be as unbiased as I possibly can. I really do.
But there's no way you can tell me, none of you guys can tell me, that DeGale landed the hottest punches.
He did it.
That DeGale landed the hottest punches?
I said he did it.
Oh, he did it.
No,
we go back. But this is what I'm saying right here. This is what is so important for us to, as a boxing fans, to come out with some type of standard or how we're going to score these goddamn fights. So we don't have this pickering and all this, because everybody got opinion. When somebody come out with the robbery word, I'm not going to dismiss it, baby, because I'm seeing the numbers. I see who's landing the hottest shot. It is a close fight. Yeah, I'm happy with the draw. I can live with it. But, baby, if somebody throw robbery, it could be. So, tell Jack he didn't get robbed. See what he said. I mean, come on, people.
I think, and it was funny.
My only 1 second, Eric. My only thing with Georgie is I don't want people to sit there and wait till the fight's over and then look at the punch stats and then base their analysis off of that. Because that's how amateur fights are scored, by punches landed. But actually, they got rid of that system. And now they score amateur fights like they do pro fights now, in the Olympics at least. So that system of just sitting there with clippers counting punches, I don't think that's an accurate representation of how a fight should be scored. That's just me. Now, Georgie, you said the fight was very competitive, okay? It was very competitive. So if the fight is very competitive, would it be fair to say that it's hard to just say that there was a clear? So are you telling me that there was a clear-cut winner in that fight last night?
Yes. Badou Jack did enough to come out with that unification that worked all his life to achieve.
All right.
And he got denied that. Did he got robbed? I wouldn't call it a robbery, but if somebody would bring it up in a conversation, I would respect it because I've seen the goddamn numbers. I've seen one that had a shot. I see how we always talk about this so amazing championship round that you gotta show up with shit is close, and the man fucking drop him. He dropped him. Do you understand where I'm coming from? It is really frustrating when we don't have a consensus on how we're gonna judge these things, baby. And all these mafia take advantage of this, and we're going around the world, and it's like no justice to be seen nowhere, baby. And then when I hear you, because you're my idol. We respect you. When it comes to boxing, you're my idol, dog.
Wow.
Boxing that I will ever know. But when you come out, when you come out with this robbery, no, yes, it could be said. It is possible.
You just kind of stroked my ego a little bit now, so I'm gonna have to get off your back a little bit.
There you go.
It is. I mean, it is that type of situation. I don't want to be too negative because you guys always got a great vibe. But you know, I always get on high energy when it comes to this injustice. I think Jack should have been victorious. I think he got denied. People were hard. I said it many times. Being a boxer is the hardest shit on the planet. And these people are going to get these decisions.
Well, you know what?
Close fights over and over again, and there is no score system that we can base this logically. It's what we people like.
You know what?
I'm sorry, Robbie, but I'm always mad at you guys when you guys say there is no even rounds. And people laugh our base with these goddamn even rounds. But you guys don't want to score even rounds.
Nope.
Yeah, I hate scoring even
you know
rounds.
what?
Logic.
Badou Jack is going to make up for what happened last night because he's going to go up to the light heavyweight division and be even more competitive up there and cause real serious problems for a lot of those guys up there. If Andre Ward wants to avoid somebody like Sergey Kovalev, one of these days he's going to have to deal with somebody like Badou Jack. And so, don't worry, Badou Jack will have his day.
Yeah, especially if he goes up to light heavyweight.
Great show like always, Robbie, Eric, Beeb. Thank you for the show. Hopefully you guys keep on putting good content and work like you guys always do, and I'm always going to be supportive. Thank you.
Awesome.
You're welcome.
Good call. Thank you, sir. Good call, man. Good call. All right. So, yeah, and we got a lot. This is going a lot in the chat, too. We got Western Matchmakers in there. He said it was a clear win for DeGale. Davey Boy Essex is tweeting me or texting me saying, check it, do the 9.5 and the 10, do the old scoring system where it's 9.5 points. A close round is 9.5 and 10, that kind of thing. Here's what I have noticed, and I know I talked about it earlier, is if you're rooting for Badou Jack, or if you think, if you like Badou Jack, he won the fight. If you like James DeGale, you probably scored the fight for him. If you kind of had no dog in the fight, you probably scored it even. It was that kind of fight, but there was clearly no robbery. Clearly no robbery. I mean, this was two guys, a very close fight either way, and you can't really judge it. And I know where Georgie's coming from with the punch stat, because I looked at those numbers too, and I'm like, wow, he is outlanding him every round. That being said, you can't, you can do that on amateur fighting, but you can't do that on the pro fighting. And to Beeb's point also, you can't really, it's two guys. It's two guys with a joystick hitting buttons. At the end of the day, that's what CompuBox is.
I love that.
That's exactly what it is.
The joystick.
That's
awesome. That was great.
You know what I don't understand? Didn't they say after the fight that one of the judges didn't score the 12th round, 10-8. They scored at 10-9. Was that correct?
No, I don't think
Oh,
it's
I don't
correct. I don't believe so.
I
You
don't think
can't.
that happened.
There's no
Can I-
way. There's
can I-
no
can I-
way they scored that at 10-9
Can I-
round.
Can
None.
I
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead,
can I ask
Beeb.
you can I ask you a quick question though, Eric? And this is just a real honest question I'm going to ask you.
Sure.
When you watched that fight last night, obviously you're not sitting there counting punches.
Right.
Did you think that Jack threw and landed more than DeGale when you were just watching it without really making a concerted effort to count punches? Because
No.
I will say this: it looked to me like early on DeGale was throwing more and maybe not landing flush, but kind of landing partial blows and stuff. Great, not landing significant blows, but I thought he was landing a lot of scoring blows early on, and I thought Jack in the later round kind of took control of that. So when I'm sitting there watching it, it didn't look like there was a big disparity in punches thrown and punches landed by either fighter. When I'm just sitting there watching it, not making a concerted effort, as I said, to count the punches. Do you agree with that, or do you disagree?
I do. I agree with it completely. In fact, I'm going the other way with it. I thought with DeGale, with his speed and everything like that, I was shocked that he was behind on the punch stat numbers when they kept showing it. I mean, I was giving rounds to Jack, don't get me wrong, and whether he threw more, or not, I was giving rounds to Jack.
But you were giving rounds to Jack for quality.
Right. Not because I thought he threw more. Right, not because I thought he threw more. And that's kind of how I always judge fights. I mean,
you thought he did the better work.
Yeah, I mean, if you got
work.
a guy that's outlanding you 50-5, that's a different story, But that wasn't the case here.
Yeah.
And I thought with DeGale's speed and his angles, I mean, like I said, and I said it at the beginning of the show, man, I was never really impressed with James DeGale. I've never been impressed with that guy until last night, because I thought he fought a really great fight last night. I mean, I got a newfound respect for him. There's still something about him I don't like. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's his personality or whatever. I don't know. But you can't take anything away from him.
He's a great guy.
Good fighter. He's a great guy. Yeah, he's lovely. He's like Eddie Hearn. He's a lovely guy.
Eric,
Yes.
I'll say one thing. His sister makes up for any weaknesses that he has.
How dare you?
Get off his sister, please.
Wow.
Oh.
Look at Robert, man.
She's got a boyfriend.
She's
got a
almost
boyfriend,
practically
Robbie,
married.
please.
What's the matter with you? She's practically married.
Beeb, I know that, but hey, Showtime kept showing her a lot last night. You have to admit that.
They sure did,
Don't
didn't
be
they?
a home wrecker. Come on.
Oh. All right, let's look for the upcoming fights here. January 19th. Is that a Thursday? Robert, is that a Thursday? You're my savant.
That's a Thursday.
All
That's
right.
a Thursday.
From in Beeb's stomping ground of Worcester, Mass. Irvin Gonzalez versus Oscar Eduardo Quezada, 6 rounds, junior lightweights. And Ray Krasewski versus Ralph Johnson. Looks like a local card there.
Okay.
January 20th on the Friday,
Okay.
Showtime. I guess it's a Showbox card. Adam Lopez versus Danny Romans for the WBA Junior Featherweight Eliminator. And Ronald Ellis versus Christopher Brooker, 8 rounds, super middleweights. Then on January 21st.
Yeah, they've got 4 fights on that card.
Yeah.
They've got 4 fights on that card. Yeah.
January 21st, we have on fighttime.com, and that's TYME, Zab Judah will face Jorge Luis Munguia. I wonder if he's in a relation to Mario. 10 rounds, junior welterweights, and Derek Webster will also be on that card as well, 8 rounds, super middleweights against the dreaded TBA. Let's see here, and I think that's it. On Sunday, January 22nd, there's a Detroit card. I guess it's Fight Night at the D. I'm not sure. Leonardo Tyner versus Estevan Dinarchek, 8 rounds, welterweights, and James Gordon-Smith versus Sylvester Ataji, 8 rounds, bantamweights. And that'll do it until the following week when we have the big one, Carl Frampton and Leo Santa Cruz.
Yep.
So we'll talk about that
next
week. So there you go. There's your updates on the fights. Let's see here. The big news Tuesday. Went to a press conference. Went to the Adrian Broner press conference. He's set to fight Adrian Granados February 18th here in Cincinnati. and got an interview with Floyd Mayweather, and you can download that or watch it on beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com, or you can sign up to our iTunes and download it there. I also got Adrian Broner, an interview, a snippet from Adrian Broner here today, but you can download that on Beating the Odds with Beeb or our channel on iTunes. Here, Bronner talks about the Gary Russell situation, and he doesn't say much, and we'll talk about it after this.
Will Gary Russell be on the undercard here?
Gary negative. I wanna give a very special shout out to Gary Russell, and I hope him the best, and I hope his next performance is quite explosive, and I hope he come out on top.
What about Hank Lundy? Is he going to be on the undercard? I know he just fought.
No, he just fought. I was just at his last fight.
Yeah.
In Cincinnati, he won the UDF title.
The UDF title.
I'm joking. Hank Lundy's my boy, man. I'm very happy for him. He's a world champion now.
That's right.
And I wish him the best.
There you go. So the big thing was Bronner had Gary Russell was scheduled to fight Iskandar on this card, and then when we looked again, he was off for the card. So that's why I asked him about, is Gary Russell going to be on this? He's promoting it. Bronner's company, that is, about billions. So apparently, my guess is that it was a money issue and he pulled out of the card because Gary Russell's going to fight elsewhere. He's fought in Cincinnati, kind of surprising, but he's fought in Cincinnati a couple of times. Maybe he got some money somewhere else. I don't know, man, but Gary Russell's been inactive for a long time. If I were him, I would just want to get back in the ring, knock the rust off, get a payday, and then look to set up a bigger fight, man.
Well, Eric, this has been one of my major criticisms of premier boxing champions and their fighters. They have fights, and then they take tremendously long layoffs. It's almost like they're getting paid so much money, they're not motivated to go back in the ring. And then when you have to negotiate a fight, if they don't get a certain number in the dollar column, they're not interested in fighting. That's been one of my main hangups with Al Heyman and company.
Yeah. So I don't get it, and I don't understand why he would do it, but it is what it is. All right, let's move on to the news and rumors. The big news this week: Canelo Alvarez versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is set for May 6th. Canelo Alvarez will take on Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. at a catch weight of 164.5 pounds. Alvarez opened at a whopping 9-1 favorite. Chavez Jr., he may get beat here, but I think it's going to be a good fight. I'm really excited about this fight. I'm definitely going to pay for it. And not for nothing. I mean, do you guys know where we heard this first? Right here on Ringside Reporter. Andres Bermudez. You guys remember the Andres Bermudez interview? Absolutely. You guys remember the Bermudez interview?
Yeah.
He's the one that told us that the fight was being negotiated. How about that? So this is why, this is why you subscribe and listen to our interviews. Beating the Odds with Beeb's got the interview up there now. Also, Chakal from Tijuana texted me this week and let me know the fight was in motion. So shout out to him also. So there you go. Beeb, what are your thoughts on this fight? Do you like it or not?
I don't hate it, but it's not Canelo Triple G by any stretch or any means. So the thing is this, even the Canelo Alvarez versus Amir Khan fight, people look at that and say, why? They look at this fight and they say, why? Because there's plenty of fighters in Canelo's division at middleweight or even at junior middleweight if he chooses to go back down there. You still have Demetrius Andrade. So there's a lot more significant, meaningful fights out there for him. But as I said many times, in boxing, you have what's called significant super fights, and then you have super events. And this could be another one of those super events. Whether it's a super fight or not, I don't think it is. It could turn out to be that way if Chavez does show up in great shape and he's ready to fight and he puts up a valiant effort, or even if he wins this fight, whatever happens, it depends on the night and how this fight just plays out. So right now, my analysis of this is it's a super event. It's not a super fight. It's not something that we need to happen, that fans are really clamoring for. But it's one of those things that once it's announced, the interest starts to build. And then, it just starts to grow and people start talking about it more and the anticipation starts to grow. And when this fight was first spoken about and people, and I heard the Bermudez even mention it, I was like, what the hell, why? And then I had my friend Eric and I was talking to me about it, and he hates this fight. And he was almost convincing me to not really be interested in this fight. But then I started thinking about it, and it's like hearing people talk about it. It's like this is a big Mexican versus Mexican rivalry type fight. You got the son of a legend. You got Canelo Alvarez, the new face of boxing, the new pay-per-view king. So this is really starting to pique my interest a little bit more so than it did originally when it was announced. So come fight time, I'm going to buy it because I'm a junkie. I buy everything, number one. And number two, it's being promoted very well. And, the storyline behind it is actually getting me excited for the fight. And it's not a significant fight. You got a guy who's a middleweight fighting a guy who's essentially a light heavyweight. And they're going to meet somewhere in the middle at 164 pounds. Chavez Jr. had a hard time making 168. He can barely make 175. How is he going to make 164? God only knows. But that further adds to the intrigue of this fight as well. Because you're going to see a little guy in Canelo Alvarez who's listed at 5'9", but looks about 5'7", 5'8", fighting a guy who's 6 feet tall, who's probably walking around at 30 pounds heavier than him. So that's the interesting thing about this fight. So yeah, it's not a super fight, but in my opinion, it's a super event, and I think it should do well at the box office.
Absolutely. I tell you what, I love this fight. And I tell you, I saw pictures of these guys side by side. Chavez is huge compared to Canelo. I mean, he dwarfs Canelo. This is not an easy fight. I really don't think this is an easy fight for Canelo at all. And Chavez working with Memo Heredia. This is not good, man. This is a tough fight for him. For him to move up almost 10 pounds against a guy that can hit like that. And I mean, Chavez Jr. can bang. This is not a gimme fight for him. This is the biggest fight right now that can be made in boxing, aside from Alvarez Triple G. No question. Robert, would you like this fight or no? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Beeb. Before I
was gonna chime in with a quick question. Is there VADA or USADA testing for this fight?
It hasn't been. I haven't read anything yet. And that'll be very interesting. Yeah, I haven't read it. Well, I imagine that Oscar's camp is going to put that in.
And the fight is in Mexico, correct?
No. There hasn't been a location yet. There has not been a location yet. We're not 100% sure. According to the press release, rumor has it it's going to be in T-Mobile. But, they've got Jerry World open, so who knows?
Is it safe to say that Chavez Jr., again, I don't want to get sued here. I'm just going to make a joke here. Is it safe to say that Chavez Jr. will be on clenbuterol for this fight?
If he trains in Mexico, yeah. I guess if he eats that meat in Mexico, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Exactly.
There's no way he's making 164 without it. There's no way he's making 164 without it.
Okay, well, let me comment on this. First of all, there are significant financial penalties for Chavez if he does not make weight. They put that in the contract. I read that on Saturday, courtesy of Lance Pugmire. And Lance Pugmire is the one that says it's going to be in Vegas.
Okay.
So
yeah, well then you're probably right. I heard
it
was in Vegas too. I heard it was going to be in Vegas too, but according to the press release, they hadn't finalized anything yet. But it was looking like Vegas.
Okay.
Which, I don't really get. I mean, should have been in Texas.
Look, it should. Look, I got to be honest with you. With a fight like this in May, you got to have it. You got to have it somewhere where people can go. You can put it in LA in the Coliseum where you can put 90,000 people there. You can put it in Jerry World where over 100,000 people can be. This is a big fight for Mexico. I mean, I guess you can't have it in Mexico. Although I don't see why not. It should be a Mexico fight. But, like they did for Julio Cesar Chavez and Greg Haugen when they drew 130,000 at that stadium, they should put it there. To have this fight in Las Vegas, it doesn't make sense to me because you can make tons of money elsewhere. As far as the fight itself, Chavez could really mess up the party if he actually comes in shape. I'm okay with this fight as long as Canelo honors his commitment to fight Triple G next. But Chavez could mess up this whole thing and beat Canelo, and then what does Triple G do?
He fights Chavez next.
Well, I'd be happy with that. I'd be happy with that too because they were supposed to fight once before, and Chavez 80 his way out of the contract. So,
wow, there you go.
We don't fuck around in Mexico.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. All right. Let's move forward here. The other one that has been signed and delivered is the fight that absolutely nobody wants to see. Manny Pacquiao has signed a fight, Jeff Horn, on April 22nd. The fight looks like it's going to take place in New Zealand. I've never seen Jeff Horn's fight, and his resume is not exactly stellar. According to Bob Arum, this will be a 4-fight tour with Manny Pacquiao. I don't get it. I don't even care about this fight. The interesting thing to me is, will it be on pay-per-view in the United States? I tell you what, even if this is on free TV, I may not watch it. It's just I have no interest in this fight. What is the deal here? Beeb, what are your thoughts on this, and what do you think of this 4-fight tour that Pacquiao is supposed to embark on?
Why is Pacquiao going to continue fighting if he's not going to be in significant fights? With all due respect to Jeff Horn, does Pacquiao really need the money that bad? I mean, he does have a job as a senator in the Philippines. This fight can't be on pay-per-view. Who's going to buy it? Like, how are they going to distribute this fight to the public? I don't get it. I'm at a loss for words here.
I don't fucking care.
I don't understand the fight. I really don't. I don't really understand the fight. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I really don't. I don't know what he's trying to do. I don't know. Jeff. I mean, all the guys you could have put him in. Jeff Horn. Why not just have him rematch Tim Bradley?
Well, Eric, like I told you earlier in the week when we were talking about this, according to what we knew, the boxing public knew that he only had one more fight left with Top Rank. Bob Arum slipped him a contract extension and made him and had him agree to this world tour. Number one, no offense to Manny Pacquiao here. He's a great fighter. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's accomplished a lot. But we want him to fucking go away. Why the hell do we need to see him fight 4 more fights in 4 different countries? What is the fucking purpose other than making money for Top Rank?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I don't know. I know it's going to be a pay-per-view in Australia or in New Zealand. I'm sorry, but
yeah.
Short of that, who knows? I mean, this fight makes no sense.
And
Jeff Horn doesn't even have 20 pro fights yet. Not even 20.
And my guess is since it's going to be in New Zealand, what do you bet they put Joseph Parker on the undercard?
I don't think that happens either. Joseph Parker's not. Would it defend us on the undercard? No way. Joseph Parker's like a main event guy now. He's not gonna,
well,
he's
hey,
not gonna...
Bob Arum has done some stupid things,
Is he promoted by Bob Arum? Is he promoted by Top Rank? Parker?
I don't know how that works out, but
I don't think he is.
It would not surprise me, and I'm sure by April he's going to have to make a title defense. Correct?
Well, I don't know because he's looking to target Deontay Wilder next. That's what he's doing. That's what they've all come out and said, that he's targeting Deontay Wilder next. So, and I'm getting
okay,
in the chat, Western Matchmakers are saying that the fight will be free in the U.S. Talking about the Pacquiao thing, the Pacquiao Horn fight. But here's another wrinkle in that. Who's going to pick that fight up? HBO's not picking that fight up.
What channel?
Yeah, what channel?
I don't think
is that going to be on?
I don't think it matters because I don't think it's been determined yet because nobody's picked that fight up. Nobody.
Because
he's not going to know because it hasn't been determined.
Remember, HBO told him to get lost when he fought Jesse Vargas.
Right, but that was a pay-per-view fight.
Yeah.
This is, it sounds like this may be free in the U.S. So if it's not a pay-per-view fight, then you have the other wrinkle. Like I said, who's going to pick it up? I don't think HBO is picking this fight up.
Exactly.
They're not going to pay for this fight, and neither is. I'd be curious to see if Showtime would. I don't know if Showtime would. I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't know.
Is this fight going to be on Nickelodeon?
It's where it belongs. It actually belongs on the Cartoon Network. So there you go.
Is it going to be on the Disney Channel?
Now I do know that Showtime and HBO are battling probably over the Joshua fight. Although I think all Joshua fights are going to be on Showtime because he's got a contract with them. So
Joshua's got a contract with Showtime.
Exactly.
Right. So I don't know.
HBO ain't getting that.
That's right. I said this on Monday on Steve's show. Showtime is the place to be if you want to watch boxing. Granted, we don't like a lot of what PBC is doing, but frankly, Showtime is giving us fights without making us pay for them. Every fight except for January 28th that HBO has scheduled, we got to pay for. We got to pay for March 18th. We got to pay for May 6th, which I'm not complaining about those. But every fight that HBO has scheduled on their calendar so far, other than January 28th, we have to pay for. And nobody's buying February 25th unless you're a total degenerate. I mean, nobody's going to buy that fight. I know I'm not.
February 25th. April, you talking about April 22nd?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, February 25th with Cotto and Kirkland. Nobody's going to buy that.
You told me you were buying that.
No, I'm not going to buy that. You can't pay me enough to buy that.
I don't know. I'm going to be calling. I'm going to call DirecTV to see if you bought it.
Okay, you can do that.
I'm going to call DirecTV and ask if Robert. What's your last name again?
Ringside. You just asking me if Ringside Robert bought the fight. Don't know who you're talking about, Beeb. Don't know who you're talking about. Ringside. Yeah, tell him Ringside Robert.
Did Robert Herrick buy this fight?
He buys everything. He's a junkie.
They're going to tell you. They're going to tell you no. No.
Yeah, we're going to find out, son. We're going to find out for sure. We're going to have a DirecTV
all right.
customer relations person on here. All right, let's move ahead here. Dana White makes a serious offer to Floyd Mayweather. Earlier in the week, Floyd Mayweather came out and said that they offered Conor McGregor $15 million in a cut of the pay-per-view to make the fight with Conor McGregor. Dana White came out and said that offer had never been made, and then Dana made an offer to Floyd Mayweather, a serious offer actually. Dana White offered Floyd Mayweather to fight Conor McGregor. He's offered both fighters $25 million to box each other. Floyd called Dana White a comedian upon hearing the news and says he wants $100 million. I got to tell you, I don't think Floyd wants that fight. I mean, nobody is going to pay him $100 million for that fight. The fight may come off. I mean, the actual numbers are actually starting to be thrown around here. I mean, could this actually happen?
I think it could, and I think that Floyd probably would not get $100 million guarantee, but it's not out of the realm of possibility to see him get a $50 million guarantee for this. I think this fight would garner a lot of. I think the fight would do well. I think it would garner a lot of interest. I think it could possibly do like 2.5 million pay-per-view buys.
Look, I mean, that's $50 million. That's a $50 million offer right there.
Yeah,
because he's got 25 going to each fighter. Yeah. Plus, I mean, I would imagine there's probably a cut of the pay-per-view there. I don't know, but I mean, that's he threw out $50 million, man. That's not chump change.
No.
Look, if Chris Brown can be on pay-per-view, so can Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather.
There you go. I mean, but I mean, honestly, Robert, I mean, do you think this actually comes off? I mean, they're starting to throw out. I mean, that's a real number there.
Now that Dana White has legitimately thrown an offer on the table, the chances are more likely that it will come off, because before he actually said something this week, I always viewed this thing as some kind of a promotion joke. But he's willing to put money on the table. I think it's actually going to take place.
Yeah, and I mean, where is he going to get? I mean, where does Floyd think he's going to get $100 million from? I mean, he's a promotional company. I mean, Floyd Mayweather Promotions. I mean, he's got his own company too. Where does he think he's going to get $100 million from?
He even told Jim Gray on Showtime last night he's not going to fight any boxers. He's only interested in fighting Conor McGregor.
Yeah, I think this actually might come off, man. As crazy as it sounds, and as much fun as we made of it, this has got legs now, man. I mean, the fact that they're starting to throw around real money, an offer has been made, an offer has been turned down, but an offer has been made, $50 million to make this fight happen. That's a big one, man.
And not only that, Conor McGregor is licensed to fight in the state of California.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy.
He's got a boxing license in the state of California.
Yeah. And I don't think he got
Nevada
one.
Nevada turned him down.
Yeah, Nevada. I was going to say Nevada turned him down. So, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, if Floyd wants to fight in Nevada and they come to terms, that fight will be in Nevada. I don't think there's any problem there. Speaking of Floyd Mayweather, we're going to stay on with him. Floyd Mayweather actually took aim at Andre Ward this week with the following quotes from ESPN chat. I like Andre Ward, but one thing about me, I call a spade a spade. Ward didn't win. Speaking about Ward Kovalev. Do I like Andre Ward? Yes. I do like Andre Ward, but Andre Ward got to make some major changes if you're going to fight Kovalev again. Virgil Hunter's not a good trainer at all. That's just my honest opinion. Virgil Hunter's a cool guy. He's a nice guy, but he's never fought before. He's never been in a crunch moment. How can you tell about a crunch moment if you've never been in a crunch moment? So there it is. Andre Ward hit back. He went to Instagram, I think Instagram or social media, to say, Floyd, I'm not taking the bait, but I will say this. When is it going to stop? How many more people are you going to lash out at? You're in a position to build up the sport of boxing and the people in it and not tear it down, especially the younger generation. Be a part of the solution, not part of a problem. Don't become another critic, the very ones you've been fighting your whole career, especially toward the ones you go through and do the same things you do. All the lashing out may make headlines, but it's not a good look, bro. We need to choose our words wisely. The people are listening. Be part of the solution. So, wow, very good. There you go. Beeb, what do you think about that?
Let me just say this. For Andre Ward to think automatically that there's this fraternity in boxing that, because, boxers are like, are supposed to be like a brotherhood. So if someone asks another boxer about another boxer, if Floyd generally thinks that Andre Ward lost that fight, then why would Andre Ward have a problem with that? Like, I mean, it's not like he said he didn't insult Andre Ward. He just thought. I thought he went over the line in his analysis of Virgil Hunter. Him staying on this thing that unless you've been a fighter, you can't be a trainer. That's like, in other sports, unless you played this sport, you can't be a coach. So unless I've been president of the United States, does that mean I can't criticize the president of the United States? Unless I was a carpenter, if someone builds my house the wrong way, I can't criticize that carpenter because I'm not a carpenter. I mean, everyone has a right to their own opinion. Everyone, just because someone hasn't actually done that, like you may not have the physical gifts to do something, but you may still have an understanding of how it works and how it is done. So, that in itself doesn't always matter. I disagree with that statement. I respect his opinion on that, obviously, because he is Floyd Mayweather. He knows the sport of boxing. He's done it all his life. But, my other side of this whole thing is Andre Ward. Every time someone says something that he doesn't like about him, he's very sensitive. So, I don't think that Floyd Mayweather has to, say something positive about Andre Ward. Like he has to go out of his way to be on Andre Ward's side on everything. So if he thinks Andre Ward lost the fight, and he was asked a question, it wasn't like he came out and just started talking about Andre Ward. He was asked about Andre Ward, being pound for pound number one. And he said, no, I don't think he's pound for pound number one. I thought he lost his last fight. There was totally nothing wrong with that. That's not bringing down the sport of boxing. That's having an opinion on a fight. If you ask me who won a fight and I say this, I think this guy lost, does that mean I'm disparaging that guy? No. Does that mean I'm insulting that guy? No. He said, I like Andre Ward. He said he's a hell of a fighter, but I thought he lost that fight. That's an opinion. So I disagree with Andre Ward's assessment of that, him saying that Floyd Mayweather needs to uplift the sport by saying, well, so he has to go out of his way to say nice things about you, and that's going to uplift the sport? Come on, man. Come on, man.
He's very sensitive.
I just don't agree with that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's very
sensitive. He's very sensitive.
He
doesn't want to talk to anybody. If you say one thing that he doesn't like, he blackballs you. Yep. And I'm a huge Andre Ward fan. But I mean, he's a very sensitive guy.
Yeah.
He takes things to heart. And if you're a boxer, you're under the lights, you're under the microscope. You're putting yourself out there. You're going to be criticized. Go ahead, Robbie. I'm so sorry.
The problem I have with Andre Ward is he don't like to honor agreements that he makes. I mean, we have a rematch clause here that's been invoked, and he's trying to do everything he can to get out of it and not honor agreements. If you agree to fight somebody and there's a rematch clause in the contract, you even if you won and you feel like you deserve, more money, which he obviously does, you need to honor the agreement that you signed. This fight should already be signed, sealed, and delivered, and we should already know when they're fighting. They fought in November. It's January. We should start hearing about when that fight is going to take place.
Yeah, there you go. Now it's time for our train wreck of the week. Beeb.
Chugga.